your National League World Series pick did not work out. Uh,
No.
they have been eliminated. The Milwaukee Brewers. My pick in the American League, the Houston Astros, are now currently up 2-1 on the Minnesota Twins. My biggest takeaway from the MLB playoffs so far is I understand that in Major League Baseball, home field advantage is not as prevalent as it is in other sports. But Josh, as a home team won 2 games this whole postseason. Atlanta last night, that incredible comeback against Philly. Baltimore has not won a home game yet. Um, I said
Orioles could
Atlanta
get
last night.
Orioles could get eliminated tonight.
Yeah, they could. And Houston won game one against Minnesota. I think we're gonna get Houston, Texas, and the ALCS National League. I think the Phillies look better than the Braves right now.
Is it possible with because I don't think Minnesota is out of the series. I still think Minnesota has a chance to upset the Astros. I do. Is it possible? I know this is a long shot, but what if we get a Minnesota Arizona World Series?
That would be disaster. That would be a disaster for MLB. That'd be a disaster for everybody involved. Arizona to me is one of the worst franchises in baseball, and nobody wants to watch the Minnesota Twins in the World Series because Minnesota is not that great. Listen, I'm a big believer in big brands. No matter if I like them or not, big brands sell. You want to watch them, they want to create good ratings. As much as you don't like the Houston Astros, Josh, guess what? You're going to watch the Houston Astros. Why? Because you want them to lose. It's the New England Patriots. In fact, it's why everybody hated New England for 20 years because everybody wanted to see the vaunted Bill Belichick and Tom Brady go down. It's why everybody was so happy for me when my Eagles took them down in Super Bowl 52 because nobody liked New England. Same case it is here with Houston. I actually think it's very likely we get a World Series rematch, which we have not seen in a long time in baseball. Phillies, Astros, I think would be fantastic.
Check this out. The Astros, after beating the Phillies in the World Series last year, their only legit World Series, because I do not count 2017. I will never count 2017, but I let my feelings be known about that last week. The the Astros are 1-2 against the National League East in the World Series. They beat the Phillies last year, but they lost to they lost to the Braves in 2021, and they lost to the Nationals in 2019. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the NL East is definitely the toughest division in baseball. Philadelphia's been through it. They play really well. They gave up the lead last night, but it's basically a miracle for Atlanta to come back and win that game. Baseball is strange. We all know how good Atlanta can be. I think that Phillies Braves series fantastic. I give Philadelphia a little bit of a slight edge right now just because they did get that split in Atlanta going back to Philly. I think Texas takes care of Baltimore. Houston will take care of Minnesota in either game 4 or game 5. I don't know. I think it's pretty wide open, but I also think there's a good possibility we get a Houston against Philadelphia World Series, even though I did pick Houston against Atlanta last week.
Yes. It would be cool, I will say this, if it's Texas Houston in the American League's championship series, especially if Max Scherzer comes back, because then you could get Max Scherzer versus Justin Verlander.
Teammates not only in Detroit, but then with the Mets, and they fire so to the deadline. Unbelievable.
Exactly.